You. Very kind, very nice intro, and a lovely welcome as well to Radiodays Asia. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted that you're here to learn about AI tools that you can use. We'll be going through this quite fast because I know you need to get to lunch, and I can already smell the good stuff out there, so we'll make sure not to waste any time. Let's get started, and I've got a little presentation here that will take you through each tool as I talk about it. First of all, just a little bit about me. I'm Mike Russell, background in audio, YouTuber. Essentially, I educate people now on how to use AI effectively. And my goal by the end of this session, before you go to lunch, is to get you 10 AI tools you can take back to your radio station, to your podcast network, whatever activity you're doing, and make creative stuff. So, we've got a lot to get through. Those are the 10 tools. Those are the logos of the 10 tools. And if you want to get those all as a nice list, just go to the URL there, mrc.fm/RDA25, and you'll get completely free access to all the tools without needing to take any notes. So you can pay attention to this lovely garden in front of me. And I've got to say, actually, that's one thing before we get started that I absolutely love about Indonesia. What an amazing welcome. And despite the tensions that we had on arrival, like actually going around the city, meeting people, chatting to people from here, such an incredibly welcoming culture, such a friendly people, and such an amazing place to visit. So I'm grateful to be here, and I actually want to stress that before we get started. And I think this is really important in the age of AI. Human connection, saying hello, talking to everyone, and making creative stuff ourselves. Things like this garden, although I'm sure this is possibly synthetic. One thing that I want to say right now is that AI at present is a great remixing machine of human knowledge. At present, it's not coming up with new and novel ideas. In the future, it may well do that, but it's a remixing machine of the whole of human knowledge. So you can take your creativity and make it even more powerful using AI. So I want to emphasize that you have the power to use AI really well, take it back to your radio, to your podcast, to the audio activities you're doing, and do great stuff with it. And with that said, let's get started with tool number one, realistic videos. Now, this is really funny. Google had Google I/O in the summer of this year, earlier this year, and they announced a new video creation machine. And it has become the most powerful video creation machine. We're going to see a few clips in a second, and maybe you can think of how you can use this for visual social media or to do some creative stuff. I always thought, well, it's great, you can generate short clips, but no audio. Now VO3 allows you to make audio, and it's pretty crazy. You can type in something like create a magic intro sung in a megalithic monument like Stonehenge with a bunch of wizards holding things that look electronic, and it comes up with something like this. Magic. Singing, music, sound effects, and even a logo. Pretty stunning that you can do stuff like that. So that is one example. You can also make comedy, but I don't think AI is very good at comedy unless you've got a good idea for it. Here's an example of fish and chip thievery on the Isle of Wight.
Nice chips you got there. Shame if something happened to them.
You're in our territory now, pal.
So there's something that was just a simple prompt into VO3. It's the seagulls dressed up as mafia trying to steal fish and chips on the Isle of Wight in the UK, which is where I'm from, and actually that's a pretty accurate representation. Here's something else where you can make something that you could never think would be real, but actually make it real. You can get a pack of chips to get up and start walking in London. Sound effects all generated by VO3. Pretty crazy stuff. And the final little demo I want to show you here of VO3 is this checkout error at a supermarket.
Unexpected item in bagging area.
Well, is it? Or is it something wonderful like a banana, and where would it even go anyway?
It's wild what you can do. Notice how the banana kind of disappeared into her hand. So AI isn't quite there, and that's why we need a human in the loop to make these creative scenes. Now, one way I've been using it for my social media is to make a consistent character. And you can do this really easily by prompting VO3 well. So if you make a great prompt talking about how the character should look with the hair texture, the eye color, what they're wearing, you can put them into scenes like this and make amazing shorts with a voice.
But first, everyone smile for the drone shot.
That's something put together in VO3 with captions added via CapCut. Really easy stuff, and I don't think we're too far away from having AI agents that can actually mix this kind of stuff and publish it to your social media for you on automation. Here's another one.
Look at this. The sacred rectangle that holds all knowledge.
Pretty crazy stuff, right? And we got this one.
Behold, fire without flame. The gods have blessed this magic stick.
Now, what you'll notice about that one is there's a different voice, but on the two that I played you earlier, it had my voice, and this is the crazy stuff. Not only can you generate a consistent character, but you can actually replace the voice and make it into a vertical short form, as I've done there, and use your own voice. So how did I do that? That'll be tool number 2, 11 Labs. You can feed the voice track from that produced video into 11 Labs, tell it to use a voice that you've trained into 11 Labs, which is an AI voice cloning tool, and it will give you an output like this.
Behold, fire without flame. The gods have blessed this magic stick.
So there is your short form content, not only with a consistent character, but also a consistent voice. So VO3 can make these amazing clips. And then, as I've just said, you can use 11 Labs, which is our second tool, to do AI audio. Now, this is really interesting because there are so many additions to 11 Labs in the last year, it's hard to keep up. I just want to do a quick spot check in the room. Who's heard of 11 Labs? That's really cool, because I think maybe it was a year, maybe 2 years ago when I asked who's heard of 11 Labs, nobody had heard of 11 Labs. Now, this has just taken over the space in the ability to generate synthetic audio. And I think most of you are finding it pretty handy now in radio and podcasting to make some interesting stuff. So let's have a play with the sound effects generator. First of all, you can click around and choose like video game power up and get it to generate sound effects. So when you're putting together promos or something that needs something in a flash, there we go, there's one, there's another. They are all generated. You actually get 4 generations with one prompt. As you could see, I went around a spinning wheel to choose a sound effect, but really any sound effect that comes to your mind, you can now generate with 11 Labs. And the best thing is 11 Labs are backing their AI technology as well. Because I know, I'm going to try and leave space for questions at the end, many of you will say to me, well, what about the copyright? What about the ethics here? They are putting lots of great stuff into their terms to say that you can use this stuff without worry. So definitely make sure to look into that, but this is great if you need sound effects generated. You can also use their newest creation, which is music, so you can generate little music tracks if you need to use those in your productions, upbeat dance instrumental. It goes ahead, it generates, but this is fantastic, better than any of the other music generators I've seen so far, because it will go along and generate each part of your music track independently. So you can essentially remix it. This is the intro here, and then we get into the build-up, and you'll see these are all generated blocks that you can move around. So you can basically remix, change the length. You've got the main drop coming up right here. And then you'll see you've got a bridge and then an outro at the end. Now, if I didn't want it to be that long, I can delete bits, I can tell it to remix bits, and I can tell it to make different versions of the music. So, we started maybe a year or so ago with just voice generation. But now, look at that. I've just remixed it, and it's made it even shorter. Now we've just got the intro, the build-up, and the outro. So you truly can be creative, and I encourage you to get your producers using this and testing this out and seeing how maybe you can use this in some of your creations. So that's 11 Music. Really, really fantastic, fascinating stuff. And I'll just give you another quick example here. Upbeat dance music, singing Radio Days over and over. This is just a prompt. Let's see if it works. I don't know. It's AI, so you never know if it's going to work. Again, it takes a little little while to generate. This is the thing. Ththese examples I'm showing you here are really quick and snappy, but
Yeah, come on, feel
here we
the
go.
wave.
Let's see if it's any good.
Days, we ride the wave. Radio days, radio days, radio days.
Put your hands in the air if you want.
Radio days, radio days, radio days,
Oh my goodness.
Radio Dave.
I'm really worried now because I got you all like putting your hands in the air and jiving to something that's completely synthetic. This is crazy. We have passed the point now of no return with AI. Oh dear. Oh dear. Right, let's move on because it's a very quick presentation. Ideogram, AI characters. This is really wild stuff. Now, those of you that came to my workshop on Monday, and if you didn't, don't worry because I'll help you catch up with what you missed. We actually use this tool in the workshop to make a tool. And we're getting to that. Towards the end, you'll see where we're going with this presentation. Those of you that were here on Monday and came to the workshop, you probably know where I'm going towards the end of this presentation. But Ideogram was one of the tools, and this is an AI character generator. So what it can do is it can create a consistent character from one photo. Probably just 6 months ago, you had to upload 20 photos of a person, you had to run AI training using a GPU for 20 minutes, and probably mess around with a bit of code to get something like this. But now, it's easy to look, drag and drop. All I've done is dragged and dropped an image of me, which is just uploading there, and I've just typed in Space Pirate holding 2 guns. And that's all I needed to do. This is, by the way, free to try, and then you can pay if you want to use more credits. 84% complete, 99%, and there we go. Look at that. That's insane, isn't it? Look at these. This is from one photo of me uploaded to the tool called Ideogram. And this is just incredible. So if you've got, like, just imagine your crazy morning show host, for example. You can have them talking about things on the morning show and, you know, maybe making a funny bit. Now you can actually put your host into a scenario like this and post it to social media. No matter what they were talking about, I can think of some really creative uses for this to visualize your audio content in the future. So there you go, just to show you again, this is just really, the consistency is amazing. And I've got to say, like, this technology has come on in waves and bounds. Pretty crazy stuff. So it all started from that photo. That's the original real photo. Let's give it another try. So I'm just going to just delete a little bit here and say Space Cowboy riding a pony on the moon. All right, so that's completely abstract. No one would think that's even possible, but within seconds, once it gets through the ideogram queue and gets developed, it should develop. Here we go, it's working away. 7% complete, 32%. It's quite quick when it gets going. 57%, and very soon we should have a space cowboy riding a pony on the moon. And come on, AI. Oh, wow. Okay, look at that. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? So this is Ideogram Character. That is the name of the tool. Ideogram is actually handy for so many things. So you can create images with Ideogram. It's good at text consistency. So you definitely want to test it out. Maybe if you're making thumbnails or other things, you can use Ideogram to do stuff like that. Here's another tool we used in the workshop on Monday. It's called Replicate. And this is great. I've put here for AI image editing. But it's not just AI image editing. So I think one of the issues we face with AI is there are so many tools out there and there's so much overwhelm, right? It's like a new tool is coming out every week. There's a new announcement from Google or OpenAI every week. Does everyone nod your head if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed with the amount of tools that are being released all the time? Yes. Can see some head nods there. It's hard to keep up. So Replicate is like an app store for all the different AI tools. So if you can think of something really creative you want to do and you're not sure what tool to use, Replicate can help you out. It's actually got something called the playground. replicate.com/playground. And again, this link is in my notes that I'll give you. But as you can see here, look, you can go through all of these tools and you can actually search. You can search by model name, but if you know what you want to do, like you want to generate a consistent character or text on an image or like analyze music, I mean, the world is your imagination here. I've chosen Flux Context Max, and what I'm going to do with this is make some text on one of the photos I generated saying subscribe on YouTube. And I'm just dragging and dropping one of the character photos I made of the space pirate. We'll upload it. And look, you see I can click run model multiple times, so I can test it a bunch of times to see the outputs. And if I want, so this is going through and it's going to make them, I'm actually typing in colorful text as well. So there we go, it's placed text on the image. Now, I'll say that text probably isn't that great, but we can keep iterating and changing our prompt until we get what we want. And again, here come the next generations now. One is over my face, so obviously that's not great, but this is AI after all, and we are the humans in the loop that are approving those things. So some results, maybe I'm not so happy with that, so I can tweak it. All the settings in that Flux Context Max model are available for you to tweak with. And one thing I will say, while it can place text on images, what is even better is if you've got a rough design and you've put some text, say on a thumbnail or something like that, you can pull it in here and say, make the thumbnail more clickable or make it pop out more, and it can do some incredible stuff. Okay, let's have a look at something else here. I'm actually going to drag in a different photo here, and I'm just going to show you how you can use Flux Context to change images slightly. So I've just said, give him a crazy smile. So this is, I think it's the space pirate image I generated of me again. And now Flux is going to read my natural language. I'm just retyping and typing sunglasses as well. We'll run those while we're waiting. Look at that. These smiles are pretty manic coming back. So that is the same photo we generated just a moment ago with ideogram. Oh my goodness me. Imagine how much fun you can have with that tool, and there are the sunglasses. So this has taken a photo that was generated of me as a space cowboy and given like crazy smiles and sunglasses and things like that. It's really cool stuff. For some reason, oh, that one got stuck, but now it's all generated. And you can keep on generating. And by the way, some of you might be saying at this point, well, hang on, Mike, how much do all these tools cost? You're recommending these tools. First of all, I will say something like Replicate is really easy because you pay basically pennies or cents per generation. It's very, very cheap to test with these models and get it dialed in to exactly what you want. What are we going to do here? Let's say make him look like Santa Claus. Yes, let's do that. Make him look like Santa Claus. So we'll run that. And again, Flux Context Max, it costs about, I think, 4 cents in terms of US dollars, 4 cents per run on this. You can really test it and get something that you're entirely happy with. I'm really worried, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So please take this back to your radio stations, to your business, to the podcast network that you're running, and give this a go with some of your talent. Or get your talent on, get their hands on these tools and get them building things. Okay, everyone knows what ChatGPT is, so this is nothing new. But ChatGPT are constantly innovating, so I constantly have to update these kind of presentations that I do because nothing stays static. Since I last spoke to you last year, I can't remember what I was excited about last year. I was probably excited about the fact that I could just get a response from ChatGPT. Well, now, as you'll see in the top left, they introduced GPT-5. It's pretty interesting, actually. They've done some good stuff with that. But I'm actually going to type in here, find the top 5 history podcasts, visit their websites, oh, that's interesting, right? And create a report for me, this is like very high-level management stuff, right? On their episode length, frequency, and how about social media presence. Let's do that, and let's get that running. Now, this is the important bit. I typed a / and I started typing agent, and there's now agent mode, and that's available to, I think, pretty much all paying ChatGPT accounts. And look at this. ChatGPT now has the ability to spin up a desktop inside the website. So what it's doing here is it's doing all the work for you. It's browsing through all the websites of the top history podcasts. It's looking at everything. It's looking at their social media. It's doing the research of maybe 100 team members in about 2 minutes. This is absolute. Look at how it's actually browsing through those sites. It's deciding what to take. And look at this. It's generated me a report here, like a podcast called The History of Rome. There's so much in there. So I can show you the full report, but, you can try it for yourself. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. Okay, I think we're about on time. We're just about halfway through, and I want to make sure we're very prompt with this talk and maybe even squeeze in a question or two. XAI from the X social network, obviously Elon Musk's big thing. Grok 4 is a great real-time AI. Now, I've spoken about this before. In fact, I spoke about it when we were at Athens for Radiodays Europe, and I said Grok 3 was the most amazing thing ever. Well, since then, Elon's dropped another model called Grok 4. I just want to give it a quick go here for you so you can see how you can use Grok. Now, before I do this demo, let me just tell you how I would use Grok in my process. If I want to find out something real time, I would use Grok. And it's really interesting because just before I came here, I was in Singapore, and a friend of mine took me to this new development, and he said, well, AI won't tell you about this place because it's brand new. And he's pretty right. Most AIs won't. And most AIs will only tell you what is on the internet. And I think before we look at this demo, I think that's a really important thing to just let that sink in for a moment. AI will only tell you what's on the internet. Think about that for a moment. Think about, the coffee store with the best reviews in Jakarta, right? And you're like, okay, so AI is probably going to find that and tell you that's the best place to go and have a coffee. But that's just where probably the most tourists have been and left reviews. What about the little local coffee shop that's doing a great roaring business? They've set something up. They've invested time and money, and it's probably a family business, and it's great. And it's probably got 3 5-star reviews. That's going to be really difficult to find. So I want to stress again, human in the loop, humans to really work AI for the best. But anyway, let's get going with this. Let's try Grok out. And it's really good for find the latest, info on when we're due to next fly a mission to, Mars. Let's do that, seeing as it's Elon's network. And write a 60-second news bulletin about it. And then we'll get it searching. Now, what Grok 4 does is it goes out, and you'll see I've got here quick answer. I don't want to click that because Grok thinks through, but you'll say, hang on, Mike, most AIs think, but this one not only searches the web, so it looks across the internet for details, just as I've said, just be careful on that information because you can only really get what's published on the internet, but also it will do other thinking processes. Let's just go back to that one more time. It will do other thinking processes such as search X posts, so it can get real-time stuff. It's really handy for finding out what is going on right now in the world. So Grok 4 from XAI is very good. Now, we're coming towards the end of this tool rundown, and this is a very interesting tool. Let me stress it's not the only tool you can use, but it's definitely the one I'm using right now. It's WhisperFlow, and it's AI voice dictation, using your voice to interface with AI. Now, we've been used to typing into a keyboard for years and years and years, even since the typewriter, right? So that's been pretty reasonable way of interacting with computers, but not very fast. And then maybe some of us got burned when we installed Dragon Dictation and we realized how clunky it is. And then I can't believe companies like Apple and Microsoft, they must be solving for this. But seriously, has anyone used the Apple voice dictation recently? No, nobody uses Apple Voice, nor do I. It's rubbish. It gets things wrong. Well, tools like WhisperFlow are small and agile. There's another tool called Aqua, and there's another one called Super Whisper as well. So there's a bunch of tools competing to be the best at this. But essentially, it uses an AI language model under the hood. It takes what you're saying, and it's extremely accurate. Let's give it a go here.
For this next show segment, I think we should cover the rise of AI in music.
Maybe a little more volume on that. Let's give it one more go.
Okay, for this next show segment, I think we should cover the rise of AI in music. Actually, scratch that. Let's focus on the ethical implications of AI voice cloning.
Okay, so notice there was a little voice thing, and look at this. Okay, for this next show segment, I think we should focus on the ethical implications of AI voice cloning. So I want you to notice, not only did it transcribe accurately exactly what I said, but when I made a mistake and I said, actually, no, scratch that, let's do this instead, the AI that was listening to what I said actually took that into account and put that into the final thing. So you can have long dictation sessions with this, change your mind, and and it's a great way of recording your mind stream of thoughts. So that's one way. Just make sure we got some volume on this next one as well. Let's give it another go and have a listen to what I say and how it comes out on the screen.
Here's what we covered so far in terms of AI tools. Video generation, sound effects and music, character generation, text editing with AI, ChatGPT agent mode, searching the web, and more.
Okay, notice that, wow, notice that not only did I say here's what we've covered so far in terms of AI tools, and then I gave out a shopping list, didn't I? I gave the list of the tools, the kind of tools I've covered so far. Whisperflow was smart enough to know exactly what I was saying, but also to know that I was making a bullet-pointed list. That's pretty incredible stuff. So why am I showing you tools like this? I believe that in the coming years, these kind of tools are going to get so good, most of us will be interfacing with AI using our voice. And I know you might say, yeah, no, I'm quite happy just typing. I like typing. It's fine. I'm used to it. We are used to so many things as humans, but if we want the superpowers that AI can give us, I would encourage you to go home from this presentation today and install Whisperflow or its equivalent and test it on your computer for a day. And what I'd like you to do, and I'd really like you to do this, and message me on social media if you do it, let me know that you've done it. I would like you to try this out, and I would like you to force yourself for at least 24 hours to only use a tool like this to talk to your computer. So everything you're doing, emails you're writing, things that you're making, scripts you're writing, everything, and all you do, if you're using a Mac, if you're a Mac user, you just hold the function key as you talk. Windows will have an equivalent key that you can hold down as you talk. And if you want to say long, rambling things, you can just double-click the function key on Mac, and it will stay live until you hit it again. It's phenomenal. I'm using it tons, and it's making me about 4 times faster typing in. So imagine all the extra stuff you can get done with a tool like that. Now, Zapier is awesome. I've worked closely with them over the last year making some AI automations, and one of the tools, actually, I think I was talking to Rosie about outside earlier, was AI agents. It's like we all have things that we want to automate in our business, in our organizations. And, you know, manual tasks we're doing over and over again, right? And we wish that someone, maybe a virtual someone, an AI employee, as I might like to call it, would step in and do it for us. Well, Zapier AI agents is the first step towards that. I just want to give you a quick example of what's possible, so maybe I can kind of get your wheels spinning and you can take this back and test it for yourself. So again, link to this is agents.zapier.com, and they have a very generous free plan. It allows you to use 400 agent actions a month, and that's completely free, and I think that's really generous. So let's just give it a go. Right, I've made an agent. So imagine an agent as an AI employee that can do one thing really well, transcribe audio. So here I'm just typing in the instructions. You can also probably, for speed, use Whisperflow to do something like this. So you can talk to it like you would an employee. You can literally say, download the audio file and transcribe, download from Google Drive. Notice I've connected my Google Drive. So this is what Zapier has always been good at, is connecting different tools together. Now I'm looking for OpenAI. Oh, there's ChatGPT, so we'll connect in ChatGPT. And look, Create Transcription is in there as well. So Zapier is basically, you may have heard of it because it's been kicking around for a while, but they connect all the things together. And I've made a folder called Radiodays Asia 2025. I have dropped in an audio file. Let's have a listen.
Hello, this is Mike with a quick test recording. I'm uploading it so my AI agent can check it out and tell me exactly what I said.
So I just want to give you this example, just so you can see what might be possible. Say you're uploading audio files of your breakfast show or your best bits or your podcast, and you want it transcribed and analyzed. Maybe you want to make an agent that can do all these steps. So I'm actually getting it to look at any files that have been uploaded to my Google Drive. It's found one. Now, in the testing mode, you just have to approve it. But when you switch the agent on, when you enable it, it will just do these things automatically. Like every time you upload a file to Google Drive, it will run this process. And look at this, audio file summary, Mike testing to see if AI agent works, purpose, testing the automated workflow functionality, status, test file successfully posted, processed by the AI workflow system. Now that is a very, very simple example of how you can use Zapier agents. Like I could probably do the whole presentation on building AI agents and AI employees. But I really want to get you thinking about that. Like what tools could I go back to my radio station, to my podcast network, to whatever it is I'm doing with audio and connect together? Like, and a simple one is like write some show notes for this, publish them to WordPress or something like that, or, prompt VO3 to make a cool video to go along with that piece of audio. I mean, the possibilities with these kind of agents are limitless. And again, Zapier agents not the only game in town. There's so many others out there that you can try and test. And like I said on Monday, I am very much an open book. So if you want to know something, if you're like, kind of what's the right tool, if you need like help navigating through the AI jungle as I feel it is, I'm here and more than happy to have a chat with you about that. I've also been using this tool a little bit recently. It's Apify, and it's good for data gathering and gathering data from places that traditionally are quite hard to get data from. Now, why would you need that? Well, maybe you want to see what people are saying on a social network or on YouTube, and you want to maybe gather all the comments from your YouTube videos. Apify allows you to do this with what it calls actors that basically go out and look at tools and give you an analysis of what's there. But let me stop talking about it and show you. As you can see, you've got like TikTok, Google Maps, Instagram, and all of this. And I'm just going to type in here YouTube, because I've got a YouTube channel, so I quite like to do it. Look at that. So you can actually grab videos from YouTube. I'll give this a little test and show you how it works. Now, this is obtaining the information so that then you can go and feed it to AI and maybe get an analysis of the sentiment of your comments on your videos or whatever else. For me, I've said find 20 videos about AI tools, and then I'm typing in the last, let's say, 7 days. So in the last week, what AI tools videos have been put out there that have done well. This tool, Apify, will go out and use the YouTube tool to go and look at YouTube for the latest videos on AI tools, and it'll make me a nice list. Now, you might say, well, that's great, Mike, but I could just go to YouTube and type in AI tools and look at the videos and analyze them myself. But the thing I want to encourage you to do by the end of this presentation is to think how you can connect these things together. It's a bit of what we were doing on Monday. Think of how you could get this tool to be activated potentially by a Zapier agent every day, every week, finding out what you need for your content, for your radio show, whatever it's going to be, and then putting it into, say, a spreadsheet that your Zapier agent, your AI employee, can go and have a look at daily and write you a high-level report. Here's everything about this topic that was spoken about on YouTube or on X or on Facebook or on Instagram in the last week. And as you can see, it's running for quite some time, but actually in the time it took me to tell you that, it's found a few videos. And here, maybe I didn't prompt it very well because it's found a couple from my channel because I only put my channel as the source. But you see, I can get a CSV file, I can get any kind of format downloaded, or I can just use Zapier to connect it, and then I don't need to worry about downloading the data. So really powerful stuff. And if you're under any illusions whether you should be using this stuff or not, searches for tools that can do things like that have rocketed recently because everyone is starting to realize, hey, I can automate a lot of stuff and get really cool information using tools like that. And we'll just have a quick look here. So here's the Apify store, and you see there's just so many different actors, as they call them, that can go out on the web, find data you want from places like, it's got LinkedIn, it's got YouTube, Instagram, comments, everything. Really cool stuff, really worth playing around with. And finally, before we have, I said we've got about 6 minutes, so we'll leave about 5 minutes for questions, which is great. I want to talk about Lovable. Now, I didn't talk about Lovable on Monday, but I could have spoken about Lovable. Lovable is a vibe coding tool. And before I give you a quick example of what it does, I want to see how many people were in the presentation on Monday. How many people know what vibe coding is in the room? Put your hand up. Woo! My workshop people. That's so cool. And maybe the odd super cool coder there in the middle, I think, as well. So so that's fantastic. Excellent. Yeah, vibe coding. It's great. I was blown away that I went in on Monday and did a workshop on vibe coding, and nobody in the room put their hand up to say, I know what it is. But now I'm pleased to see some of the room know what vibe coding is, because this is the future. Now, I want you to ignore the word coding, because we think of writing lines of code, HTML, CSS, PHP. That's what the tech team do. That's what the dev team do, right? But, you know, traditionally in the past, we've been talking about tens of thousands of dollars to get something built, and wait times like, you know, maybe next week, maybe the next month, maybe even the next year, or maybe, sorry, it's too hard, never. So Lovable, in my opinion, is the quickest path to vibe code something. We did something a little more technical on Monday because we had a lot of time to really get into the weeds. But if you want to go home today and get a taste of how you can build a really cool creative app that can solve a problem for you or your team, then Lovable is it. Let me just give you a quick example, and then we'll get to the Q&A. So I've said here, create a web app. So it helps me to create a web app and then connect tools to it that helps me sort my radio show prep into categories. All right, that's all I've said. It's a very simple prompt. I could make it more detailed, but Lovable will go through, it will spin up, it starts thinking just like a traditional AI agent would. It's thinking about how to best build this. It's thought, I'll create a radio show prep generator organized with a clean, professional, broadcast-inspired design. This looks like really cool stuff. And look at this, it's writing code in the background. Now, we don't need to worry about that code because Lovable, our AI tool, is doing it all for us. And very shortly, look at this, perfect. I've created a professional radio show prep tool. You kidding me? It's a blank screen. It's not going to work. Oh, hang on. Wait, there you go. Oh, my goodness me. That is insane. Look at that. That is like a web app that is like, it's the bare bones of something you could deploy, for example, in your radio station. Look, drop-down menu, category weather, and then I put in this as a test as the item title, comments and notes, and look at this. It's actually, wait, let's go to the weather tab. Yes, it's actually recorded. This is a working app. This is cool, right? And this is scratching the surface. We went deeper on Monday in my vibe coding workshop. And if you don't know what vibe coding is, this is just a small introduction to it. But I want to encourage you to go home today and type vibe coding into Google or Perplexity or X or whatever it is you use to get your information. And I'd like you to learn about vibe coding. And if you don't do it yourself, at least tell your team about this. And maybe even if you've got some technically minded people, just think how this could empower them to make things quickly that you can use in your organizations. So, I believe we have reached the end. Human connection is very important, so please keep it up. Shake more hands over lunch, have discussions, have cups of coffees, connect, and be the human in the loop. But just to end this presentation, before the 2 minutes I've got for Q&A, I did use ChatGPT earlier to find out how to say this, and I've been saying this all day, and so far I've got smiles, so I'm hoping I'm not going to mess it up. But it's been great to be here. And Tarame Kasi. Was that right? Thank you. Any questions? Don't be shy. Come on, we've got like 2 whole minutes to dive into ethics.
What's next with AI?
I'll let you get the mic there.
Okay. Obviously, you're the expert on things AI, so it's moving that fast. Where are we going to be in the next 12 months? What's your take on the future?
Wow. Oh, that's a great question. So the next 4 months, yeah. I mean, this is interesting. We're heading to a space now where things that are difficult are just going to be made easier and easier and easier. So we'll still be the humans in the loop. But at the moment, for instance, vibe coding, I think it's amazing. I think it's the future. A lot of people in my workshop ask me, as you know, because you were there, what about the security of these apps? What if I want to deploy them? How safe are they? Are they going to leak passwords or personal data and things like that? So that is a worry at the moment, and that's not solved yet. But I think a lot of the companies are working to solve that and make that easy for us. So I think it's just going to make all of our lives easier. I'm a real optimist with AI, so I think it's going to optimize a whole ton of stuff, as long as we're careful. So thank you. Anyone else over here? Yep.
Thank you. Great presentation and good delivery, of course. What's the budget, you think? I mean, you mentioned here and there pricing, time. You're the expert. So I don't know if you play with AI tools an hour a day, 10 hours a day. And so how much do you spend, for example, in subscription? Are these metered service? Is it a blanket fee? Do you spend $20 a month, $100 a month, 500, 1,000, 10,000? Can you give us an idea of the budget and what we should plan for before we embark on that journey?
That's a brilliant question, and I absolutely love it because it's variable, right? You can spend as much as you like. So, gosh, 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, when ChatGPT came out, it was the only AI tool in the game, right? We all used it for free and were blown away. And then they introduced a $20 a month plan. And that was all we needed to pay monthly. But now we're starting to see more and more AI tools are going to pay per use. So you're ending up paying more and more. And now we're seeing the bigger companies saying, not just $20 a month, you want the super duper cool model to really solve your problems, $200 a month. So it can add up. But I think the model at the moment seems to be pay per use. So providing you're getting value from the tool, hopefully that makes sense. But yes, essentially you can spend unlimited amounts. Just make sure that you're making it, you're balancing things out, because it's very easy to spend on that. Hope that helps. Thank you. I think we're on time. So any more questions? I guess we can take them to lunch. But thanks so much, and have a great rest of the Radio Days. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I should have told you you're a minute over, but I'll let you go because it was so brilliant. I do like this idea when you go back to the office and your boss says, "What do you get out of Radio Days?" And says, "Well, there's one thing I really want. I want lovable." Can you imagine that conversation? That's going to be great, isn't it? We've got an hour for lunch.